Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Stars and Cards with Kat and Jeanette. I am Jeanette, and this is Kat, and today we will be talking about the Libra Equinox that will be happening on September the 23rd, 2023. So what this is going to look like is we're going to start off with Kat giving us a little bit of an explanation as to what are some of the archetypes and energies that are coming in with this equinox and what Libra encompasses. She might talk about a little bit what the retrogrades are illuminating and calling us to do. And then we'll delve into the spread. I did a Celtic cross that has already been laid out, and then we'll be pulling some clarifying cards live, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so I'll give it over to Kat. Hi, Kat. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. This is exciting. I'm really definitely on the edge of my comfort zone. The way that I do astrology, it's all internally. It's all focused on internal energies rather than what's going on out there. So I'm not really used to even talking about it with people. But the way that I see this Libra equinox, well, the equinox is it's like the midpoint between the solstices. So like when the earth goes around the sun, it's like it's kind of like the clock, the calendar of the earth and the sun. So we've got two solstices in winter and summer, and we've got the two equinoxes. So the equinox is like the midpoint between the solstices. It's where the earth is balanced with her light and dark energy. And when the ancient people named the constellations, they named them like according to like what was happening on the ground. It's not like because Libra constellation was sending energy to us. It was the people that noticed that this was the time when the light and the dark was balanced on the earth, and they saw that this particular constellation was in the sky, so they called it Libra, which is scale. So for me, what this means is it's kind of like trying to find that midpoint between the light and the dark, like within ourselves, like the balance between the two forces of positive and negative, and also the balance between what's inside and outside, like our internal world and our external world. So in a way, like I feel like I want to come into the center of the scale, like the fulcrum of the scale, because I think that's where we get to create and manifest from. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Libra is constantly looking for balance and harmony and symmetry. It's an air sign, so Libra is part of the trinity of air with Gemini and Aquarius. Libra is associated with justice and the balance of the scale. And also because it's ruled by Venus and about values. And I feel that, if we expect other people to value us, but we don't value ourselves, and our external world is going to reflect that back to us. But the external world is not a reflection of our value. It's just a reflection of our frequency that's inside that we need to adjust. So the external world is showing us where we're out of alignment. So yeah, that's kind of what Libra, like what the equinox is and what Libra means. There's quite a lot of aspects in the chart. I'm not going to talk about aspects. There's lots of astrologers doing that right now, talking about all the aspects going on. There is a beautiful pentacle that's happening, which I can talk about later, but there's a couple of pentacles actually, which for me represent like limitless potential, like creative potential. But there's a lot of retrograde planets Mercury is going to be going direct, but Mercury is currently retrograde, but it's going to be going direct on the equinox. But we've got Pluto and Saturn and Neptune and Chiron and Jupiter and Uranus are all going retrograde. And for me, like I love the retrograde time because I feel like we're being really invited to go within, to connect with ourselves as source, and just to really step out of like that linear time and remember that everything goes in cycles and spirals. It's not about getting from point A to point B. But when we get the retrograde motion, I feel like it's activating the parasympathetic nervous system and activating our psychic sensitivity and our intuition. Yeah. And when we allow ourselves to really go within and really trust that part of ourselves, that intuition, I feel like all these planets, for me, are showing us all these illusions that we came here to play with. Talk about maybe up in the cards with all these planets, like as they go, like I imagine like a lightning rod kind of going right through all of the chakras, because I think that we have intuition in all of our chakras internally, like not just in our third eye, but in all of them. So with all these planets in retrograde, I think it's a good opportunity to connect with all those different forms of intuition. Mm-hmm. In the body. And sometimes it's harder for us to connect with the intuition of our lower chakras because they can be hard to decipher. But I like to imagine like a line going, like a lightning rod going right through, like joining them like a dot to dot. And so we can access all of that intuition and they can all work together in balance. And Mercury right now is in retrograde, and Mercury for me is like has like an all access pass to everywhere. Yeah. And he can join all, like he can weave them all these together, like he weaves all the parts that are unseen and seen, and all the different, you know, the unconscious and the conscious and everything together. So it's kind of a lot.
The messenger of the gods. So weaving all the messages into one story through all the chakras using this thread of lightning.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And going back to the equinox and what it means. So there's equal amounts of time in the day that are, so the solstice would be, the summer solstice would be the longest day of the year. The winter solstice is the longest night of the year, or the shortest day. And then the equinoxes is equal amounts of day and night, right?
Yeah. So you've got the planet, like it kind of, as it goes around the sun, it kind of does this like dance. It's like because of the way the poles are. So when the sun is shining on the, it's like to do with the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, really, which are like the two bands that go around just above and below the equator. So when the sun is focused more in the northern hemisphere, like so the sun goes up, as the sun goes up and then the sun goes down, kind of it appears from our point of view like the sun's going up and down because of the way that the earth's tilted. And so when the earth is like this, so when the light is hitting like the midpoint of the earth, that's when the light and the dark is balanced on the planet. So that's when Mother Earth is in exact balance with her light and dark. According, like from our point of view, like from where we are and where the sun's shining on her. So yeah, and we're part of Mother Earth, and we also have that balance of light and dark within us. So it's about embracing it rather than, trying to push away the dark, but actually seeing that it's something that we came to play with on the planet.
I find that like sitting with your darkness is an apt time to be able to find the answers. A lot of the answers to your problems are in the darkness. And perhaps these themes of light and dark, good and bad, freedom and slavery perhaps are being illustrated in today's days. And perhaps we have become too accustomed to being complacent into what we think reality is. So we are being pushed into the darkness to kind of question what we feel reality is. And maybe those answers are a little bit hard to sit with, but I think we need to get into that, don't we, Kat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're definitely being invited to embrace our darkness and embrace the contrast that we're experiencing, so that, because that's where the magic is, that's where the power is. But when we push it away, we're pushing away our external world, our experiences in the external world. It's trying to show us what's happening inside of us. It's trying to show us where we're out of alignment. And so if we keep pushing it away or stuffing our feelings down, then it's just going to keep coming around. It's going to get louder and louder. So yeah, it's best to just get stuck in and see what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah. I feel that like it is, like when we say as above so below, or as within so without, it is the external world is acting like a mirror, like you said, to things that are happening within us. So we have the capability to transform our external world by just simply going within. And perhaps these retrograde planets and the equinox, the energy surrounding those things are allowing us to become the magician and to manifest, but it comes from within, right? And we don't have to put our power, and we're not looking for an external savior to save us. That's not where the power lies. The power lies within ourselves. To change our reality, we have the capability of creating universes, right? As you had mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to recognize that this crazy contrast that we're experiencing, this duality and this intensity, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. It's like it's serving us, it's forcing us to go deeper within, to step into our own power, which is, you know, like in the present moment. And the present moment is where all our power lies. So
very powerful stuff. Okay, so why don't we just dive right into the reading. So we have here, so this is a Celtic cross that is signifying the energies of each card has a specific meaning and significance. So we'll go through them, and as we go through, I will be shuffling and picking clarifying cards for each of the cards that are out in the spread here. So card number 1. It is the Emperor card. And so this card is signifying current energies and current atmosphere surrounding. Sorry, I'm just going to close my window. I always get disturbing noises when I'm doing these videos. So the card number 1 is signifying the current atmosphere of the situation. Okay, so if we go on a global level, so we can kind of look at it in global level and at both individual levels as well. So we have the Emperor. So the Emperor is, you know, it can signify global leaders, global powers. We do have the United States going through its Pluto return. Maybe Kat can talk a little bit about that in a minute. But this is signifying perhaps there are some changes happening on the global scale with regards to powers at hand. On the individual scale, it can be who is having power over your life. Do you have power over your own life? Who are you giving your power away from, or who are you giving your power away to? Or are you looking for external saviors? Like, this is the way that politics has been going. There's like a two-party system, and you know, people get fed up, and you know, we see Trump coming in. Trump is gaining a lot of traction. I'm not going to be saying I don't really trust anybody these days, because I'm kind of seeing beyond the illusion of these people working for the people. Okay, they work for themselves, they line their pockets, they're in it for their own reasons, and they are being controlled by people that are above them. The leaders of countries are not the ones in charge, they are just merely puppets. But that being said, instead of this might be bringing in themes of personal sovereignty and who you allow to give to control your life. We have people, we have the governments talking about restrictions coming back in, new COVID variants. So are you going to be the emperor in your life, or are you going to wait for someone else to come in to be your savior? So I'm going to pull a card here. So since it is the 4 card, I will shuffle it 4 times, and we'll see what it is. And then, Pat, maybe you can give your 2 cents. So we have the Hierophant. Okay. So I'm just gonna see. Okay, there we go. So the Hierophant is Taurus, and this is talking about established institutions. So if we pair it with the Emperor, we have established institutions that are trying to control our lives. How awesome is that? That's pretty on point, if you ask me. So this can be on a global scale, from countries to religions to political parties, or this can be institutions in your own life, in your work. Is what you're doing for a living matching your vibrational frequency? Are you just working to make ends meet and not enjoying your present moment, as Kat had mentioned before, and living in this world enjoyably? Or are you just working 9 to 5 every day of the week and not even being able to enjoy your own family? Kat, what are your thoughts? I'll keep them up here.
This is you said this is the current atmosphere?
This is the current atmosphere. So we have Aries and Taurus, both major arcana cards, signifying big things. We have the Emperor and the Hierophant, the Pope, and we have the Emperor.
The two, so there's a lot of power
Yes.
themes going on. So, and you mentioned Pluto. So Pluto is currently in retrograde in Capricorn, getting closer to the Pluto return of the United States degree, which I think is 27 degrees 30 or 33 or something like that. So on the equinox, it's going to be at 27 degrees 57, I think. So it's going to be pretty close to that collapse. For me, like this whole thing, it represents it's like a regime change inside and out. It's like that, as the old paradigm is collapsing externally, it's really representing our own internal regime change, where we're realizing that power is an illusion that we came here to play with. So Pluto wants to show us, I feel that Pluto wants to show us where we're still feeling powerless and like where we're still in that victim consciousness. Pluto is about concentrated power. It's like condensed, concentrated power. And the more that we're in our victim consciousness, the more like powerless we feel, like the less connected to ourselves as source we are, and the further away we are from our actual real power, which lies in the present moment, because all these things take us out of the present moment. So that's what I feel that Pluto is trying to show us, like where we're feeling, wherever we're feeling like victims and we're feeling powerless to change our situation, it's all an illusion, because like all of our power lies in the present moment. So the more that we can come into ourselves and trust ourselves in our own power to change that, that's what's key for Pluto, I feel. And then also You say that the Hierophant is about like institutions, and that's kind of the theme of Capricorn too, and also with Saturn, who's ruling Capricorn, who's currently retrograde in Pisces. And I feel that Saturn is trying to show us where we're still believing the illusions of lack and scarcity and limitation, and because we're actually limitless.
Yeah.
This is what we're being called to discover, that we can do anything. But Saturn really makes us, it really makes us really believe that we're limited and we can't do this stuff, where we're still believing in these illusions. So, and these institutions, I think one of the things that's collapsing, that we're discovering about these institutions, is that the way that, like, it's another Saturn theme, is this idea of punishment and reward and all this bullshit that's been happening on the planet for the last few years. It doesn't work. It's like the control, it's just crumbling, like it's an illusion, like it doesn't work, like
the top down structure, the top down control.
Yeah, all of these institutions that have like power over the people, I think they're all going to collapse. And I think that things may really come to a head over the eclipse, but I really believe that this equinox, it's like a portal that where we can really come into the present moment and balance out our inside and outside, and recognize that the external world is like showing us these illusions, that we can really step into our own power. And if we haven't done that, then it's a journey that we're all working on forever, right? But when we get to the eclipses, we're going to be really shown where we're out of alignment very intensely.
I like to add as well that the Emperor is a 4 card and the Hierophant is a 5 card. So if we put those two together, that's 9. And so the 9 is usually an end of a cycle as well in the tarot. So it's approaching the 10, which can be signified as the end of a cycle. So if we use that numerology too, that can be quite significant, especially since the next card is a number 9 card as well. And also when we look at the Hierophant, you can see that he has 3 levels to his crown. And those signify, I don't know if it's clear or not, but it signifies the novice, the apprentice, and then the master. So he is also the intermediary between the material world and the spiritual world. So we need to become, we are like bouncing off what you had said, we are not novices here. We are seeing what is being shown to us on the 3D world, and we need to become the master of our destiny. We need to become the emperor of our own world, and we need to be able to utilize the energies since we can be the intermediary, the conduit of the spiritual world and bring it down to the material world. That knowledge is there for us for the taking if we are willing to accept it. It is not easy to accept this information. A lot of people refuse to see it because it's easier to live in the world of illusion and not confront and have to sit in that darkness that we were discussing. But we are being called to access the information that is available and to step into our own power as the emperors of our own world.
Love it.
That's encompass what we've been talking about. I think that does. Okay, so did you want to add anything more, or should we move on to the second card?
Let's move on.
Okay, so the second card here, as you see, it is the 9 of Swords. So the 9 of Swords is in the resistance position. So it's technically in reverse. Okay, so the 9 of Swords is originally a card of waking up to the same nightmare over and over and over again, and you wake up into another nightmare. So you're having a nightmare when you're sleeping, and you're waking up and things have not been changed. You're still, it's like your Groundhog Day, right? In that movie where he wakes up and it's the same day over and over and over again, and there's a lot of anxieties and a lot of fears. So perhaps perhaps in this equilibrium time of the equinox, and since it is upside down, this means that perhaps things are starting to become illuminated, and some of the anxieties that we have, like if you see the card number 3 is the moon, which can signify illusions, and that perhaps that have been giving us anxieties, and perhaps the moon has been giving us sleepless nights. We just had we had 2 super moons, I believe, as well, and a blue moon. And so a lot of truths are coming out. And so perhaps it is within us to see what perspective and how it's going to affect our consciousness and how it's going to affect our vibration. Are we going to let it keep us in fear? Or are all of these truths that are coming out, are we going to utilize this to make us stronger and to step into our power and to take our power back from those higher established institutions? Or are we going to let it control us and make us be glued to the TVs and stay in our houses in fear? So I'm going to shuffle it 9 times while I'm counting, because I can't speak and shuffle. Maybe Kat, you want to give your 2 cents to that, and then we'll pull the card.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of lines up with what I was just saying about Pluto, really, but just recognizing that our power lies at the other end of that fear. So when that fear comes up, like if we, like you talked, I think you were saying it's like being stuck in a nightmare that goes on and round and round. So it's like being stuck in your head and needing to like step out of that and align it with your heart. Align your head and your heart, and or just get out of your head and go into your heart. That's guess what I'm trying to say. Because the heart knows more than the head. Like apparently we have another brain in our heart, and our intuition. Like for me, like when my heart's like racing, like when I'm feeling like anxiety and my heart's like beating really fast, I realize now that it's my heart's actually calling me in to it. It's not just like before. I used to just see it as like my nervous system is
physiological response.
Yeah, and I used to be like, oh no, like I try and stop that, but I think it's just the heart is like calling us within to it, into the present moment, because I think that when you're in your heart, you're in the present moment, and when you're in the moment, you're in your heart. So it's kind of again where your power lies.
Okay. And so you can't really take action when you're stuck in a fear cycle, right? Fear, being scared is telling you something, but it also doesn't fix the situation when you're stuck, right?
Yeah,
it can signify being stuck. And so perhaps you're starting
to it helps me to try and remember to have gratitude for the fear, because it's something that it's trying to help me survive. It's trying to keep me safe. So you can just say, thank you. I know you're just trying to keep me
from your body, right?
So that you're not, because if you separate from the fear, you're separating from yourself, because it's an aspect of you that you're pushing away. Whereas if you can stay connected with it and see what it's trying to tell you, like what's happening in the external world, like what are you believing about yourself in this present moment? Like, what are you afraid of? What are you really afraid of? Like, because that's, instead of just trying to get rid of the fear.
Yes, the answer lies in the darkness.
Yeah, we need to go into the fear, like deep dive into the fear, make friends with it. And
why am I feeling this way? And what can I do to not feel this way? And that's not by masking it. It means like going down to the root cause, right?
Yeah.
So what we have with the 9 of Swords reversed is the Lovers, which is kind of really interesting, because this is not in this situation. So, obviously it can be lovers on a personal level, but this is aligning with your higher self. This is your higher self angel. Okay. And you see there is a snake here at the bottom. Now, in the allegory of the Garden of Eden, the Christianity has signified Satan or Lucifer as the snake to be evil, but in the sense he has broken Adam and Eve free from ignorance. Because God had forbade them to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and perhaps we are being guided to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil right now. If you want to stay ignorant to what is actually happening in the world, there's a lot of news going to be coming out with regards to really dark things that have been going under the surface, and with regards to Hollywood, with regards to the our established institutions and how corrupt they are and how evil they are. Are you going to turn a blind eye to it and just try to continue living in your quasi real world that is not real? Or are you going to align with your higher self and eat from the tree of knowledge and good and evil? Are you going to open yourself up to this knowledge? And so I think when we pair it with the Nine of Swords being upside down, we are awakening up and we are breaking free from our anxieties and our nightmares, because we are aligning ourselves with our higher self angel, and we are eating from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, and exposing and illuminating our world to and our minds as to what is really going on. And this is the way that we can move forward. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. One thing that comes to mind is that in the not just in the equinox chart, but like what's been happening like throughout this last lunar cycle, is that the black moon and goddess Kali asteroid have been moving through Leo together, and they are like destroyers of this illusion. And black moon Lilith, her story lines up with the Adam and Eve story.
Yes.
Yeah. And they are like pure creatrix frequencies, and they want us to, they're destroyers of all this illusion that we're believing too. Like they want us to see like where we're still betraying our own hearts, like where we're suppressing and repressing our own creative power and our own needs, like just to fit in and to be accepted and validated, and to be seen, to maintain the status quo kind of thing. But it's all unbalanced feminine energy. So
well, I was going to add, like, Lilith was originally Adam's first wife, and she did not like how he was controlling over her, and she had to succumb to his will. And so this is in alignment with the governments and the established institutions. Are we going to stand up? We might get banished from the current world that we live in if we don't toe the line, but is that a bad thing? No. And this is also talking about, in the Libra Equinox, we're balancing both our feminine and masculine qualities. We have Adam and Eve on this side. We have Eve on this side and Adam on this side, and then our higher self angel is in alignment. So we are being called, in order to get out of our nightmarish world, we need to integrate the dark and the light, and we need to integrate both the masculine and the feminine within us both. Yeah.
And Eris is also aligned with the North Node, like she's conjunct with the North Node on the equinox. And so these are like powerful feminine, like divine feminine energies that know how to step into that male energy, because balancing the feminine, it's not just about seeing where we're unbalanced with the feminine, but it's about adding more of the balanced masculine into that, so that like Venus and Mars are like rulers, like they've been kind of going back and forth with their rulership. Like now that the South Node has gone into Libra, like Venus is now ruling the South Node. She was ruling the North Node before. And then when we go into Scorpio season, they're going to like change their rulership. But yeah, So there's this kind of back and forth between the masculine and the feminine, but it's all about bringing the masculine and the feminine together. Like it's like a divine unity.
Yeah.
Of both balanced and balanced masculine and balanced feminine. So
we need both.
We need both. Yeah.
Okay. It's good. Let's keep moving. So let's go to conscious plans and intentions. So that's the moon. So that's card number 3. So this can also be seen as a short-term outcome of the equinox, but not the final outcome. So the moon can mean illusions. It can mean deception. It can mean secrets and fantasies, and so non-reality, right? And it can also signify needing to not give up, right? So in a normal Rider-Waite deck, there is like a coyote and a wolf and like a lobster, and there's like a path. And the path is going towards the mountains, and there's these 2 pillars, and the 2 pillars signify obstacles. And the moon and we are being encouraged to keep going despite the obstacles that might be really difficult. But we need to keep going and towards those mountains, which are our end goals. So despite any obstacles that are coming, we need to keep going. Now the moon can also signify, I lost it. I had something to say, but oh yes. So any dreams that we might have, we need to bring them down to earth. We need to bring them down. So not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, being in the moment and bringing our hopes and dreams and our into our reality and into our physical world. So they're not just living in our heads, they are actually being manifested. So manifesting what we want to see, right? Let's see here. So that is an 18. So I'll do it 9. Anything you want to talk about while I'm shuffling?
Yeah, I'm just feeling like what you're talking about ties in with how I feel about Neptune in retrograde in Pisces right now, and with with Saturn in Pisces in retrograde as well. I'm curious to see what comes up to clarify it. But maybe let's just see what card comes up, and then
All right, ready?
Yeah.
It's the moon.
What? The moon clarifying the moon?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that it's supposed to signify, I guess, that the universe means what it says. But so there you have those 2 pillars, you see. And this is the moon, but it also has the sun on it. So this could be about the eclipses too. Okay, and we also have the eclipse. So on a normal Rider-Waite deck, we're going to get to this card next in the foundation, but the 8 of Cups does have an eclipse on it in the normal Rider-Waite deck. So maybe I'll pull one more card with this, but those are the pillars, and that is the path that I was talking about. And despite any obstacles that we might be facing going to the new world, we are being encouraged not to turn around like this lady is here, but we need to keep going down the path. And our goal is to go towards those mountains. We also have, I think these are what is the sun illuminate, like the giving us, like we are being showered with sun, like Pam Gregory talks about it all the time. We're being like, information is coming towards us by solar flares and stuff like that. So that might be, a lot of people are awakening because of that as well. I'm just going to pull the next card. That I'm not going to shuffle it again. It's the sun. Okay, so the moon and the sun. So yeah, I think a lot of secrets are being illuminated. We have the moon, the full moon can illuminate things. The new moon is sitting in the darkness of what the information is that is being given to us, and we need to sit and accept it and to see how it affects us. But then we have the sun here. So this is positive, and this is, so any sort of truths that come out, they might be uncomfortable, but it is for our own good, for that we know this information. So do not fight it, and let what comes out come out, and it is going to be in our own good. The sun also can signify children, but like perhaps truths coming out about children in the world. There's been the thing in Lahaina, a lot of with the fires, a lot of children missing, in Ukraine, stuff perhaps with Hollywood perhaps coming out. Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kat?
I love that the sun, that you got two moons and a sun. So
the eclipse, it's definitely something about the eclipse, I think.
yeah, I know it could be the eclipse too. I know that like Neptune is opposite, like where I don't have the new moon chart, but our next new moon that's in Virgo in a few days, it's going to be opposite Neptune, and Neptune's also opposite the equinox, kind of within a few degrees. And the last full moon that we had, so this is like the sun and the moon into place. So we've got the new moon is when the sun and the moon are together, and the full moon is when they're opposite. So the last full moon that we had, which was kind of brutal, that full moon in Pisces, oh my God.
I agree.
It was really intense. So thinking about Neptune in retrograde and Saturn in retrograde for me. So if you think that, like, when Neptune is about illusion, it's all about illusion and deceptions and all that kind of stuff. But when it's in retrograde, for me, it's like it kind of flips everything, and it shows us that what we think was an illusion wasn't, and what we think was, it's like it turns everything upside down completely. Kind of like, is it the Hanged Man that is associated? Yeah, so it's like flipping everything upside down. So for me, what it's making me feel is that it wants to, because it's on the Virgo Pisces axis, it's all about service and sacrifice and, serving others, and like you talked about, climbing to the top of the mountain. So perhaps, like, if we serve ourselves first, like, so I think that we're being shown the illusion of self-sacrifice, and how like we're being shown where we're sacrificing ourselves, like where we served other people so much that we're betraying our own needs, and like we're constantly giving away our energy and our power over and over and over, and like we're not even like a safe haven for ourselves anymore.
I think that's like one of the main themes at the beginning, was where you're giving your power away to.
Yeah. And that's what, for me, that full moon in Pisces really showed me, like, where I was like, I've been doing that all my life, really, like just thinking that it's a good thing, like feeling like I have to serve other people, and like it's all coming from love, but it wasn't. This is unbalanced feminine energy. And with Saturn in retrograde in Pisces, it's like, if you think of Capricorn, like, and also Virgo, like, like the hermit at the top of the mountain, it's like climbing, like the spiritual ladder, like we're climbing this ladder and this mountain. I think that that's also an illusion, and that actually, like when Saturn's in the ocean in Pisces, it's like the upside down mountain. And I think that if we can just instead of trying to climb to the top of that, like we need to just completely surrender and just allow ourselves to kind of fall to the bottom of the ocean, to the top of the upside down mountain. If you think of Saturn being the form of that, like the container for us that can hold us when we fall to the bottom. Or we can think of it as Saturn as being like the boat on top of the ocean that's kind of holding whatever feels more appropriate. But Saturn wants us to take control, like, of our own reality, take responsibility for creating our own reality.
Yeah.
And I think that Neptune wants us to realize that we are the ocean. We're not just a drop of water in the ocean. We are the ocean. And when we're trying to move the ocean as a drop of water, that's why we're not able to move it. But when we realize that we are the actual ocean and we're the drop,
Like we are the universe, but we
are
are
the universe.
yeah.
Because we keep thinking that we want to receive from the universe, and that, like, if we
We are
do
not
this,
separate. We are
we're
one.
going to be earning. Yeah, we're like earning things, like we're more worthy to receive something from the universe. But we are the universe. Like, we get to create whatever we want. I think that's what we're being called
Well,
to.
I think like the earning, like, is coming from this conditioning that we've gotten from all these religions of, like, you know, sin and like being pious and earning your way into heaven, right? And that's what has been kept a secret for so long, is that, you know, and that's the secret here is with the moon, is that we are gods. We are the universe, and we have the ability to create universes. So that's very powerful, and that's information that people don't want you to have, because it takes power away from them, right? Organized religion is a means to control people before, by fear, and this is the same paradigm that
it's like the punishment reward thing, and it's the whole idea of karma. I think that we need to transcend our idea around what karma means, like,
there's a lot of behavior,
like, stuck in these endless cycles of punishment and reward, and like, oh, I did this in a past lifetime. We've been everything in every lifetime. Like, we get, I think we've all been burnt at the stake. We've all been, like, all these things. Like, if we stay, like, when we're being shown these things, we're just being shown where we're out of alignment. It's not about those specific things. We've not done something wrong that we are getting punished for in this lifetime, or we're not earning something in this lifetime because we had a crappy lifetime before, or it's that all just takes us out of the present moment, which is where our power is, like, when we're focusing on all this stuff.
We need to step into our power, and especially, like, and to analyze and reflect on who we're giving it away to, like, with regards to these behavioral modification techniques of reinforcement of good behavior and punishment of bad, especially with the last 3 years of, like, you didn't get the vax, you lost your job. Are you willing to stand up and take your power back and say no when they're going to try it this time around, right? The more people that are going to step into their own power, like, how many people are going to believe it this time? Like, they've been putting out all of these things about aliens, about, different viruses coming in, and people and that's why they're trying to censor the internet, is because information is being shared so quickly that their narratives aren't working anymore. And so we need to be able to step into our own power and to take sovereignty back into ourselves and take our power back and step into it. And then that's going to help collapse the Capricorn in the system, right? And
well, the old paradigm was to not question authority, and you just do as you're told. But now we question everything. We're like, that rule doesn't make sense. Like, I'll follow the rule if it makes sense, but if it doesn't make sense, like, make it make sense. And they don't. They just keep beating that drum. Like, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And it's just.
And what experts? Who are these experts? Like,
we're not even afraid of it. We're just like, that's stupid. Like, I'm going to do this.
We get to choose our own reality, and I'm not going. This time around, you get to choose what timeline you're going down. There's a lot of different diverging timelines, right? So stay on the path, stay on your path, right? I think, and I just want to end on these cards here with the moon is water and the sun is fire, and so we might be seeing a little bit more things around the world with flooding and fires, perhaps, too.
And also the moon and the sun are masculine, feminine.
That's right. Oh, so wow. Lots of good information coming out today.
For me, this whole equinox for me is about the balance between the masculine and feminine. Positive, negative, inside, out,
fire and water. emotions and action, right? Okay, powerful stuff. Okay, so card number 4 is the foundational card. So the 8 of Cups. So we have kind of significant illustrating eclipses perhaps on the top with the sun and the moon too. And so on the original Rider-Waite deck, this gentleman has an eclipse above him as he's leaving what is no longer serving him. Okay, so he's walking away from things that are no longer serving him, and he's walking towards the 9 of Cups, which is spiritual fulfillment, contentment, and happiness. Okay, so this, I don't consider this a bad card. It's actually one of the best cards in the deck. Is where you are analyzing things in your life, and you are no longer giving away your power, and you are creating those boundaries, and taking power back and leaving what no longer serves you. Okay, so let me cut this, and we'll shuffle it 8 times. Sometimes that may feel lonely. Oh, okay. I did it 8.5 times. I can't talk and count at the same time, so I apologize. So, all right, for the 8 of Cups, please. We have, okay, we have the 2 of Pentacles. So in this deck, he is not facing us. He's walking away. He's walking away from perhaps things are no longer serving you. And this is about balance as well. Okay. So it can be a card about spinning too many plates. Let's see where your energy is being reciprocated and where it is not, and perhaps walking away from those things that are not reciprocating your energy. Like you had mentioned before, you're giving from an empty cup. If you're giving away to too many other situations or people, you're not taking care of yourself. So we need to balance this. We need to balance work with play. We need to balance alone time with social time. And perhaps this is what we're being called to as our foundational card. Like they're both walking away from things that are no longer serving them. Okay. And this can be also about fluctuating money. Pentacles are about money. I don't know if you can see that properly. The glare is kind of off. But and the tide is what is it? Low. So normally this would be water, right? And if you see there's like shells and whatnot and like little starfish, and we have 2 moons at the top, right? We have 2 moons, right, at the top, and the eclipse. So as the environment is ripe for you to move away from things, as like, he's walking, normally you wouldn't be able to walk on the sand when the water is there, right? So analyze your situation, and you don't have to act immediately, but wait until the opportune time is there for you to, don't force things, but wait for the opportune time for you to perhaps walk away from things that are no longer serving you. But make sure, what are you getting from this, Kat?
Oh, lots. My brain's going everywhere. I feel like the idea of the 8 of Cups moving towards the Knight of Cups is about recognizing where you're trying to change things out there instead of changing them in here, and realizing that, I don't keep going on about the external world and the internal world, but it's like where you're recognizing, recognizing where you the thing that you want to create, which is the 9 of Cups, like that wish fulfilled kind of feeling. Like, how do you create that state of being internally so that the external world will reflect it, rather than trying to change it out there so that you can feel it in here, like we've got it backwards. And then also the Two of Pentacles, you know, that putting yourself first is like looking at, like, you know, where you're sacrificing your own needs and all that kind of stuff, like we were just talking about, and where you're also focusing more on the external world rather than yourself. I guess what I'm trying to say is everything starts internally. Like we need to look at like whatever's happening out there is secondary, and like what's happening inside is where everything gets created. That's where we send everything out. We pulse it all out from there, our intentions. So we need to create that, but we need to find out what we want first before so we need to look at what we think we want, what we're trying to create out there, and get to the bones of what's underneath it. What do we really, really want? Like, and what, you know, why are we doing this juggling, like the Two of Pentacles? Like, why are we juggling? Like, what are we really doing? What's it really about? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? What's,
well, the Seven of Cups is about having all of these distractions, or like analyzing different things in your head, right? And trying to navigate what decisions you're going to take. So there's all these options, right? And so you're perhaps analyzing, and then, you know, after you analyze, you might be leaving a lot of the people that you thought were in your soul tribe, or a lot of people that might not be resonating at the frequency that you are at, and you're leaving them, and it might be quite lonely. But don't let that deter you, because you're walking towards the Nine of Cups. You're walking towards that fulfillment and spiritual contentment. And you see here with the Two, he's leaving with people to the new world. They are going with him on that boat. And it might be choppy, but you're not alone. You will be resonating with other people. But like me and you had mentioned prior to our filming, people can have the potential to come in and out of our lives quite quickly, because we are shedding layers of ourselves and raising our frequency. So I think that's quite powerful. So don't let the journey deter you from your end goal.
And I think I agree. And I think that when we are walking away from what no longer resonates, we also need to be aware of where we might be judging. And because when we judge somebody else or another situation, we separate from it. And so we need to kind of be able to walk away, but also stay connected. Well, I mean, it's an illusion, because, you know, where there is no separation. We are. But
it's a mirror. They are a mirror to something from within us. So we have to integrate it.
So kind of walk away with them, but we're taking them with us at the same time. We're taking what we've learned, and we're really grateful for what they've taught us.
Yes.
And recognizing that they are us. They're just aspects of us that we've created so that we can learn about ourselves. So they're actually part of our external world, which is like being part of our own spiritual body, which feeds back information.
Feedback loop.
Ourselves. Yeah. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
It does to me, at least.
So I mean, all these people are just aspects of us. That's kind of how I see the planets, you know, like as aspects of me, that like they're just helping me learn about myself and present different people and situations and the way that they move. But all the people that, you know, that are in our lives, or the ones that are in our past, are still us. They are us. So we need to know that we're not judging them, because when we're judging them, we're judging, you know, we're actually judging ourselves. That's kind of a wild.
It's also like they are aspects of us, and what we let people get away with as well. The boundary situation is who are you as a person, right? And so these people, and like that's where recurring themes might come in. So one person might not be in your life anymore, but if you haven't dealt with it, or you haven't created that healthy boundary, or integrated that lesson, it's going to come out in another way. It's going to come out in another person, and those people are going to you might rid yourself of one person, but then another person's going to come up, or another situation is going to come up, where until you remedy and integrate that lesson, you know, you're never going to be able to move forward. So
it's going to get louder and louder and more intense because it's helping you. It's trying to show you something about yourself, and it's just going to keep coming back around louder and louder until you.
So where does and then going back to the Emperor of the Hierophant, where does your power lie? Is it in your external world? Then you're going to just keep repeating these situations where your power lies within. You're choosing what you let in and out of your life, right? And what controls you. The locus of your control should be coming from within you, not from without, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. So things that are passing, we have the Five of Spears. So the Five of Spears is the Five of Wands, and this card signifies war games. And so as you see here, these people are practicing their skills and practicing their strategies that they're going to use in war. They're not using swords, so no one actually gets really hurt here. And so when we look at the rest of the reading as well, we look at the one, the Ace of Coins, the Queen of Coins, and the Knight of Coins. We do have an economic warfare going on right now. A lot of wars are economic in nature these days, with sanctions being imposed. And now we've just had the BRICS summit, you know, with talks of the de-dollarization of the world, where they want to stop trading oil and gas in American dollars and use local currencies. They want to stop using, so they want to dethrone America as the world reserve currency and the world power that it is. And so this kind of goes all in the line with the United States Pluto return. But this can also be war games, talks of war, distractions with the moon being there, illusions with the moon, if you want to go from the Five of Spirits to the moon. You know, talks about fear. There's always crises, right? So the era of crises perhaps is coming to a crescendo. I don't know. This isn't a passing energy. So let's get a card. It is a card of struggle. Like fives are signify as number strife, so conflict. It's the Queen of Pentacles. So now we have her twice now. So the Queen of Pentacles. So perhaps this is economic war games being done, and with the illusion of things moving forward. Now, the eclipses might be bringing in. So if we go from the top, the moon, down to the Ace of Coins, down to like the Queen of Coins, Two of Spears, we could be looking at a new financial system. Like, and this doesn't mean it's going to happen like on a specific day, but these economic war games have been played for quite some time, and perhaps there's some movement going to be happening, especially with the Ace of Coins being coming up in the upcoming energy. This is a start of a new financial system. What are your thoughts, Kat? Like, this is a card about resourcefulness, bunnies, creating them, being, you know, having the ability to create themselves on multiple and multiply, right, very easily. What are your thoughts on this, Kat, with the Five of Wands, with the Queen of Pentacles?
I think the idea of the conflict and the struggle and the practicing of the war game thing, it's just how the world is showing us first of all what's happening inside of us, but it's like on a big scale, like from the perspective of like source, not that I'm speaking for source, but from the big perspective, it's just like this, how this duality, this polarity has become so extreme. But from the, you know, like from the macro level, it's just energies that are just playing out. Yeah. And It's kind of like, the earth being in her light and dark. It's like the power lies like in the middle, like in the center of the fulcrum of the scale, like in between the positive and the negative, and not being one or the other, but like being in the center of it, and just being like the eye in the middle of the storm, like just watching the chaos going on around you. And then the value part, like the Queen of Pentacles, like she really knows her true worth.
Yeah.
And she knows that when the external world is showing her, like telling her that she's not worthy, and that she's, that she doesn't have value, she knows that it's bullshit. She knows that she is worthy, and that she knows that it's just reflecting her in a frequency, not her worth. So it's just.
Can I just stop you right there? If you see here, she is looking in the pentacle, and there's a reflection of her own face there. And that is what you had just mentioned, that this is a reflection of our external world and of our worth. And I just thought that was really something. As you said that, I noticed that she was, if you can see her face right there.
Yeah. And so I think that we're being called to really, that it doesn't matter what's going on out there, because we can resource ourselves at any moment.
Yeah.
Like we can, we can resource ourselves practically, like the Queen of Pentacles probably can really well, but we can resource ourselves in lots of ways, like, in our bodies, and like in our minds, like in so many different aspects. There's lots that we can do. Like we can breathe, like we can, when we breathe in and we come into the present moment, there where we can access our power. That's one way of resourcing ourselves in the present moment. And so I think it's just about being in that conflict and struggle kind of energy, and being able to maintain and hold that frequency of knowing what your real true value is, whatever's going on out there. It doesn't matter, because
and your value doesn't come, your worth and your value doesn't come from an external source telling you what it is.
Exactly.
And no one gets to tell you that you don't get to own anything and be happy and to eat bugs, and right. So and I think this is also, oh, I lost it again. Oh yeah, so she's also like really resourceful. So abundance doesn't just come from money, right? And it could be love, it could be time, it could be people, it can be balancing, like being able to enjoy your hobbies or something, so and just living in that abundance, like the gentleman in the Nine of Cups, right? He's basking in the energy of abundance. So but also, as situations might be a little bit turbulent, we are leaving this energy, but trying to think outside the box as to what else can bring you abundance outside of just money, because money might not look the same soon as well.
Yeah, and we're being forced to really get creative and like really go within, and really trust ourselves that we can provide for ourselves, like in this, I think that's what the whole, Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus, and like the North Node that just was going through Taurus, was really pushing us towards, like finding our like learning how to resource ourselves. And like, it doesn't matter what's going on out there, we can create new money systems, we can trade food, we can grow our own food. Like, they can put the prices up in the store, but that's fine, then we'll just make our own food, and it's better for us as well, and if they're going to put stuff in the medicines or whatever, we can grow our own medicines, we can make our own things,
we can choose our own reality, we don't have to participate.
Yeah, and we can, when we just stay in that trust that we will always be able to do it no matter what happens, then but when we put our power into that's going on out there, then we forget what we can do. And I know that we're here to play with that illusion and to forget. We're designed to forget that stuff, and then remember, and then forget, and then remember. But yeah, we just need to remember really that that we can resource ourselves at any moment, and we'll be okay. And we are okay. We're killing this, like this
They
last
will,
3
they
years.
will never let us believe that. And that's why they keep fighting with more crisis stories and trying to keep us at a level of fear, but they're seeing that we're not buying it anymore, right?
Yeah, they're just pushing us more into our power and our own, more into our sovereignty and more into discovering what we can really do and what we can really create. And they're pushing us together. They tried to isolate us, but they've actually, we've created new communities because of it that would have never happened if that hadn't have happened. So there's always something really good that comes out of the chaos. And that's what I meant about like embracing the conflict and the struggle and realizing that it's serving you. And if you can just see what it's just trying to show you where you're out of alignment in your frequency. It's not like just because you're maybe surrounded by people and situations that don't value you doesn't mean that you don't have value. They're trying to show you where you believe that.
And I think that, even if, so say the financial system collapsed or something, this is not everything is bad, right? So as doors close in your life, it might be pushing you to you have to be resourceful enough and be able to pivot on a dime, and to perhaps it might push you in a better direction that might allow you to be more creative, or it might, so just because an old paradigm is dying doesn't mean it's bad. It might be pushing us into a better situation, right? And so where doors close, doors open, and you have to look at it in that kind of way. That doesn't, people are so reluctant to have change because they're so used to it, but change pushes us to be better people, and it brings us, it brings out in us things that have been lying dormant, right? And so and as also something came to me as well, that they are fighting each other, and this is what the institutions, the Hierophant, the old established institutions, the Emperor, they have us fighting each other. They have this internal fighting, and that's how they're keeping us distracted so they can do whatever they're doing behind closed doors with the moon, right? So, but we need to stay focused into looking into ourselves and stay focused on our community, right? Queen of Pentacles can be our community too. And stop playing into their games, their mind, their psyopses, right? So, but there's a lot of division, and that's how, keep a population divided and fighting amongst themselves. The leaders can do whatever they want because no one's focusing on what they're doing, right? Okay. All right, let's keep going here.
Where are we up to?
We're the Ace of Coins here is the upcoming. How are we doing for time, Kat? Are you okay?
We're probably doing horrible for time. I know last time we went on for so long. So I'll let you, I don't know.
Oh no, I'm just want to make sure that you can get to work. So
yeah, I'll be okay.
Okay. Ace of Coins is the upcoming energies coming in. So Ace of Coins is new energy, brand new beginnings in finances, in resourcefulness and material wealth, career opportunities. So there are new financial systems, perhaps. So let's see what we got going on here. So if we look at our foundational card, the Eight of Cups, we're leaving things that are no longer serving us and starting something new, going up the diagonal from the Eight of Cups to the Ace of Coins. So one, I'll shuffle it once, and we got the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles is being left out in the cold. So the current financial system of fractional reserve banking, and debt-based systems is no longer serving us. It's left a lot of people out in the cold. And so a lot of people in poverty, they are in debt. Inflation is going through the roof. And but there is sanctuary if we just go inside. And that could be physically go inside a place, or it could be their sanctuary inside of us. And we anchor, this is an anchor here, we can anchor into our hearts. This is also about not calling attention to our weaknesses. On a normal Rider-Waite deck, these two individuals are walking here and they have bells on their necks, and they were lepers. So back in the day of lepers, they would wear bells around their necks so as to call attention and warn people that they're on their way to, so people can stay away from them. But here, I think instead of not calling attention to your weaknesses is not ignoring the different way of looking at things. So yes, our old system has crumbled, and the old system has kept people out in the cold. And but there is a new system coming in that perhaps might be bringing a little bit more equality. Now, Kat and I had spoken previously to this reading about the BRICS nations and how, you know, it's the same, two sides of the same coin, right? So be mindful of things that might sound too good to be true, and putting your faith in, you know, they are sitting outside of a church, right? And that is the Hierophant. That is putting your faith in establishments. They have left people out in the cold for so long. So we need to not look at top-down structures for our savior. We need to look at our own communities and build our communities from the ground up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I know that I can really relate to that Five of Pentacles card. I know that whenever I try to manifest anything from like a feeling of lack and scarcity, that it just doesn't work ever. Like you can't manifest anything from a feeling of not having it. Like you have to create the state of being, of having
bask in the energy, like the Nine of Cups.
Yeah, and I've been trying to manifest from lack and scarcity my whole life, and it's just but when you just, like, when you are not coming from a place of fear and you're not calling attention to your own weaknesses, or whatever the wording that you said, it's like you're not seeing your own worth, and you're not seeing how, you're not believing in yourself to resource yourself.
Yeah, and then I'll add on to that. So like, if there is some sort of financial collapse, we need to, like with the Queen of Pentacles, we need to see the opportunity in that as well, to recreate a world of our own, to recreate something different. So yes, some people might be ruined, or they might lose a lot of money, but there is opportunity, there is drive, and where one door closes, another door can open. As you see, she doesn't look like she's hungry, and she looked like she's gone inside and got what she needed, and now she's leaving. So there is opportunity in bad situations for us to create something that we would like to see. But there is something new coming, but there is also some hard times coming.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we just need to realize that although it doesn't feel like it, things like that are happening for us. And like I was saying before about, the whole thing with Libra, the equinox, and like with Venus, it's like if we expect other people to value us, but we don't value ourselves, like our world's just going to keep reflecting that.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep manifesting people and situations that don't see our worth.
Yeah.
So like leaving, it's kind of like leaving that behind and realizing that it's happened for us, that always moving into that Ace of Pentacles, like the new opportunities, and seeing that, yeah, this is uncomfortable and it feels like crap, but like, what is it showing me that is possible? Like that I wouldn't have thought of if I hadn't have been forced to really get creative about how to make some money here. Like So it's, yeah, seeing that everything that's happening for us and opportunity,
But
like you said.
they could say, oh, look at our lives are we have nothing and we're the victims, and they're waiting for someone to come help them. But look, they're sitting outside of sanctuary where there is food, and look, she's got a whole bag of stuff. She's taken her life into her own hands, and she's not waiting for someone. Maybe she broke into the church and took what she needed, right? I'm not saying that theft is, I'm not like trying to push that, but I'm saying they're going to die waiting for someone to come and help them. They're going to freeze and they're going to starve to death.
It's victim mentality.
Pardon me?
It's just like being stuck in a victim mentality, and where you're just hang on everything that you don't have, instead of thinking about, because if you don't have stuff, you're being invited to create more.
Yes.
Like you're in, like, if you don't have anything at all, you're like in this void where you're kind of forced to create more. So seeing that as an opportunity rather than just shrinking, feeling sorry for yourself.
It's a blank slate. Think of it as a chance to start fresh.
Yeah. Right? I know it's easier said than done.
I know.
Take my advice, I'm not using it, kind of thing. I'm trying to work on those things myself, but yeah, I realize
you have to remind yourself every day of what you're grateful for, and being grateful and basking in what you have will only create the frequency to bring in more.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on to the next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the Two of Spears is in the position of our current energy as a collective. Okay, so we see perhaps things that are going on around. So this is the Two of Spears here at the bottom. We're on our perch from home, perhaps, and we are looking at what's going on around the world and wondering what's happening next. So this might be us in anticipation. A lot of people I've spoken to are also like, they can feel that something's about to happen. There's a lot of change in the air. And there, her experiences are behind her, and now she's wondering what is next in her life. So the normal Rider-Waite deck, there's a gentleman, he has done everything he's ever wanted to do, and now he's looking out over his village, and he has the globe of the world in his hands. So this is us as a collective. We are standing out. Perhaps we are looking at opportunity, or we are being distracted by the news, but the world is in our hands as a collective, and we have more power in our hands as a collective than the 1% elite. And as you can see above her, that's the house energy. That's external situations and environments that are affecting the energy. So she could signify banks, she could signify top-down structures as well, or the rich elite, right? And they're but if we come together as a collective, we have the power to change the world as well, if we stand up and take our power back, right? I think this is a lot about taking our power back and not letting other people determine our worth. So let's see what is with her, the Two of Spears. We have the Nine of Cups. Funny, that came up a lot already in this reading. And it's funny because, the Eight of Cups to the Two of Spears, up, they're both at the bottom there. So we're walking away from what is no longer serving us, and we are looking at what's ahead, and we are basking in the energy of the Nine of Cups, which is spiritual fulfillment, contentment. We are satiated. We are not hungry. We are enjoying libations. We're being served food. Food is abundant. So this is what we are manifesting, not lack, but abundance. The Ten of Cups is joyful moments after difficulty as well. And the Ten of Cups also signifies choosing what reality you focus on. So in a normal Rider-Waite deck, there's the 10 cups in like a rainbow, and the family's living in reality, but they are choosing to be happy, and they are choosing to focus on what brings them joy. So if we take both of these together, what is next is where we're vibrating at and what we choose to focus on. We are shedding what no longer is serving us, and this allows for our whole world to open up, and we can choose our own adventure. What do you think, Kat?
Totally agree. I love it. Yeah, I think that I mean, we're shifting. We're already kind of in, we've got one foot in the new paradigm and one foot in the old paradigm. We've figured out that nobody's going to come and save us. Like, we are the plan. Like, we're our own plan. Like, we're the ones that are going to save ourselves. We're saving ourselves. We're already doing it, and we just need to focus on the Nine of Cups, focus on our ability to create what we want, because we're limitless. Like, we I know there's all these fears about the new age, like even about AI and all this, technology. Like, we're the technology. Like, our human body contains the most advanced operating system ever created. Like, we're discovering, like, that we have all these new gifts that we didn't know that we had. And I think that Uranus in Taurus is helping a lot of people discover those gifts. But all of us have that power, but we're only just realizing that feeling of limitation and all that is an illusion. Like, the lack, the scarcity, the limitation, all that stuff, like the Saturn restrictions, the control, we're realizing it's all an illusion. And we're like, all of a sudden we're giving it's like we've got all this space and all this stuff that we can do, and it's like a whole new playground to play with our powers.
And that, like, so she's looking at, like, the new world, like her new abilities, and what can I do with these new powers? And we can create abundance. We can create our own abundance in our own community, in our own parties, and we can feed ourselves. We can grow our own food.
Absolutely.
We don't need to rely on anybody else. We have the power within us to create the world that we want, and we can destroy worlds with as well. Right. And the Nine of Cups is also, it would, like, going along with the basking in the energies. Like, it's hard, like you had mentioned, when you're in a victim mentality mode for so long, and you grow up that way, or like growing up with parents or like that never had anything, and but it's kind of like faking it until you make it. Like, in the beginning, you're gonna like, it's like you can utilize the method of scripting too, right? So, or like when you do your daily rituals, or having the script of, like, just you need to retrain your thoughts. And so sometimes in the beginning, it's not going to feel authentic because you don't feel that way. But when you start repeating it to yourself in the mirror, repeating it to yourself every day, your cells are going to start to be rewired, and you're going to start looking at the world in a different way, because your thoughts are spells, and like your words are spells. And so if same way of like coming out of a depression, right? So you frame your reality with the way you think and the way that you talk. So even if it doesn't feel authentic in the beginning, you just got to get the ball rolling, and then it'll start exponentially. You'll start seeing the changes in your day, because then you're going to start reacting to things differently.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're shedding beliefs about our reality constantly. And I know that with Jupiter, as Jupiter gets closer to Uranus in Taurus, they're going to be conjunct, like, next spring. Like, you and I both have Jupiter conjunct Uranus in our charts, so we already know what that feels like when you're constantly shedding beliefs, and you're in this constant void where you've shed a belief, but you don't have a new one yet. You haven't integrated any new information, so you just feel like you're in this constant void. And I it's just about I think that Uranus, it's like one thing that Uranus does, it just removes like layers and layers of conditioning that's happened like in society, in our families, in our, in our ancestral lines, like, for thousands of years, like our perceptions of our reality, like just like we've evolved to believe things are a certain way, but that doesn't mean they are,
Yeah.
So I think that Jupiter, like, it's like taking a magnifying glass and zooming in on something and seeing it for what it really is. And then so you expand. It's not that it's not true, but you add like another layer of meaning as you're also shedding. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
So you're understanding what you saw before in a new light. And yeah, it's been speeding up. I mean, a belief is which is associated with Jupiter, and Jupiter's also in retrograde in Taurus. Like, a belief is just, to me, it's just an idea. Like, I've shed so many beliefs about the world and the reality that I realize that a belief is just something that just gets repeated over and over and over, like, until you see it as a truth. But
well, and
but
they even said, like, in the Nazis, Goebbels, and even in the Canadian government, one of the MPs, they've utilized the Nazi slogan that Goebbels had said about propaganda. It's like, you repeat something off, like, just keep repeating something over and over again, and it becomes the truth, and people believe it. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it is.
Well, we're seeing that. Look what I mean. Like, the media has so much power on how, what the collective believes is a truth.
Yeah.
And it's all bullshit, and so we have to, I think that the more things don't make sense externally, we're being forced to go inside to find something real, find our own truth, because truth is based on your perspective. Like, we all have a different point of view, and so we all each have our own truth. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, what's like truth
is subjective.
Reality, they're different things. Like, truth to me is like, as I look outside, I see a tree. That's like a truth. That's like,
it's an objective reality.
Yeah, that's a truth. But like, the fact that it's green, or like my version of green, is based on my perspective. It's kind of like astrology, like, like we all have a different view of the stars depending on where we are in our time and space, right? So it's all an illusion, but it's all real to us. So, but it's just a perspective in the moment, and time is also an illusion. So there you go, getting really deep with that one.
Right.
So
okay, let's keep going. Some powerful messages coming through here. Okay, so for the Queen of Coins, she's in the position of the house. So external environments and situations and people that might be influencing the energies that are coming in. So the Queen of Coins, she can signify the elite, the rich, the wealthy. So that's what I'm getting at for here. It's a little bit different of a message than from with the Five of Spears, because that's in passing energies, but this is signifying people, places, and things, external people, places, and things that are affecting this. Okay, so it's a Torque card, so I'm going to shuffle it 3 times. This, I think she also signifies Virgo, if I'm not mistaken. So that might be interesting. So perhaps the new moon in Virgo, we are in new Virgo season right now. So that could be something that's affecting us. So trying to get more organized, coming back down to earth, practicing mindfulness, being in the moment. All right, let's see. And yeah, some more Pentacle cards. So focusing on work and what is meaningful to you. So I think this might be Virgo trying to illustrate, and she's having an effect on telling us to focus on things that will bring us more abundance. and what kind of work, things like work in general, the idea of what people do for work might be changing. Like, look at what happened in the last 3 years where people were deemed non-essential, right? So what is meaningful work to you? Are you happy to just get up in the morning and do something for its sake and be miserable making money for other people? So this is about, okay, so this is about making money for other people, okay? We might be called to start looking to make money for ourselves or to be more community oriented. Do you find meaning in making someone else richer? Or would you like to make yourself richer and work for yourself? So this might be a push to reanalyze. So he's analyzing what he's doing for a living and analyzing if it is giving him meaning or not. And this is a card of building something of quality. So this could be also about we might be being called to create quality community, or something that's quality in a community oriented. Or this could be called we are reevaluating our financial system here with the Pentacles, right? And perhaps we are moving in towards getting gold currencies being gold backed as well. So there might be a reevaluation by the bankers here. She could be a banker. Reevaluating the financial system, what money is. Cryptocurrencies cryptocurrencies are being spoken about a lot in the G20 summit that happened yesterday. There was a lot about regulations, like they want to do, they want to collaborate with all the countries around the world around having the same regulations for cryptocurrencies. They're talking about CBDC, so central bank digital currencies coming in. So I have a feeling that might be it as well. So we have two different perspectives here. So on a personal level is what gives you meaning? How can you create meaningful abundance in your life? And are you happy with working from a top-down structure? Do you like having a boss? Do you want to be your own boss? Let's start creating more entrepreneurs. Or this can be a reevaluation of the financial system with new currencies coming in. With banks as well. And that number 8 is a card about foundation and structure as well. So there could be new structures and foundations coming in with regards to what currencies actually look like. Cat.
Love it. So we do have a Virgo new moon coming up. It's actually exactly on top of my Pluto South Node conjunction. So I'm not really sure what to expect with that. But so Virgo is, it's about doing things step by step. And like with the 8 of Pentacles, like, am I right in saying that the 8s are about the self, about working
about structure, creating structure and solid foundations.
But the number 8 is associated with self, right? That's what I thought. But what I'm picking up is that like what you were saying about serving others, or like and which is also about the Virgo, like sacrificing themselves and serving others, but also like what's our relationship with money? Like, do we is it like, do we avoid like looking at our bills, like because we like we're scared because we go into that lack and scarcity mentality when we look at our bills? Like the Queen of Pentacles, like she's got all her shit together. She knows where all her money is. She knows where all her possessions are. Like she knows all her assets are all kind of where they're at. Like she doesn't hide away from it because she's scared to look at her balance or whatever. So like, do we avoid looking at our money? Do we push it away? Do we abuse it? Do we neglect it? Do we value it? Do we thank it? Do we have gratitude for what we already have? Do we use what we already have, or are we just always looking for more? I think that because we've got a lot going on in Virgo right now. We've got Mercury in retrograde in Virgo, and we've got Pallas Athena, I think, right at the end of Virgo right now. And they make a really good team in Virgo because Pallas Athena likes to do things like she's all about strategy and like step by step, and Mercury in retrograde is going like, you know, going into all the parts of us. And so between the two of them, they can take everything into pieces like a Virgo can, and look at, you know, put everything into categories, get rid of all the shit that they don't need anymore, and then put it all back together into this cohesive kind of whole that's like where you've learned something, where you've got this new wisdom that you didn't have before. And so for me, that's what Virgo is all about. It's about, you know, it's about getting rid of the stuff. It's not about going into the micro details and obsessing. I think that's like the shadow side of Virgo, and that wants everything so perfect. But it's about
yeah,
seeing, you know, seeing what works and what doesn't work, and getting rid of the shit that doesn't work anymore, and seeing where you're giving your power away, where you're sacrificing yourself, where you're not focusing on yourself and your own resources within, and what you can create.
Yes, being resourceful.
Yeah.
Looking at where your resources are and what you have and where you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 8 of Spears. So this is our hopes and fears. So the 8 of Spears, to rhyme, it can be, it could be signified by the arrows of love. That was like an old interpretation, but it just means good news. It could be news coming in very quickly. So let's see what kind of news we're going to get. 8. Right. So we have justice. So Libra. So things might be balancing out. So we're hoping and we're fearing that, so perhaps we're hoping that there will be some swift justice coming in on behalf of some of the people that have been giving us injustices, perhaps. So we might be able to see some of that come in. I know there is some talk of, there are some court cases happening, or maybe something's moving, or or this could be some more balancing out happening on the world stage. But this is, I guess this is just our hopes and fears at the Libra Equinox. You know what? I'm going to pick one more card. Maybe results coming in from our analyzing of whether or not we're being reciprocated with our energy. Is there balance in our life? Maybe we'll be getting some answers. I'm just going to shuffle it once quickly. Balance for what? 4 of Cups. Four of Cups can be blessings from the universe coming in. No, this is 6 of Cups, blessings from the universe coming in. I'm going to pick one more. And death. Okay. There's transformation coming in swiftly, and it's going to be a blessing. It might not seem like a blessing, but the sun is going to come up and things are going to be a little bit more balanced. There we go. So I'm going to hold all of them. But this goes with the 8 of Cups, 8 of Wands. Sorry, we have Justice, the 6 of, so we have Justice, the 6 of Cups, and Death. Death. He said Death is Pluto, I believe, isn't it? Yes. So Libra, we have Libra and Pluto in our hopes and fears. So I think there is some change coming in, but it's going to be in our favor. It's going to be blessing. It's going to come in quickly. But it's going to be able, there's going to be some balancing out. And this can be on a global scale, but on an individual scale, I think this equinox is going to bring in some this whole, I think the rest of the year is going to bring in this more, it's going to be just transformational for a lot of people, but we are being called to make sure that what we're putting our energy out is being reciprocated. We are balancing ourselves with good, and we are looking at the good and the bad, the dark and the light, and this is going to bring much transformation to us. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really, I mean, I haven't talked about the aspects of the Libra equinox, but there are so many. It's hard to, I see there's like three. I mean, I work with a lot of the asteroids, and I know not everybody does that, but there's like three perfect pentacles that kind of go around like a clock. That, well, the third one is not technically exactly on the equinox, it's like 3 hours later, but it's when the moon clicks in at a certain spot. There's like another pentacle that gets activated with Venus and Juno, and there's a whole bunch of quincunxes and yods and all sorts of stuff. Like, it's just really, really potent. I wouldn't be surprised if we, like this fall, like maybe in the Libra season, we end up, maybe the whole justice system might start to really implode. We might end up with a new type of justice system that's going to come with our new world, as just because of the strong theme of justice, and the balanced. Yeah, I think that, like Libra, because like Libra, when Libra is not balanced, like we all have Libra, and it's like people have more, like just because your sun's in Libra, I mean, like we all have Libra in our somewhere, some stronger than others, but the unbalanced Libra, it's like where, because Libra is always trying to balance, wants symmetry, wants things to be perfect, kind of out there. And so when you've got the scale, if you're trying to put something on one side of the scale, and then you try and put it on that side and then that side, and it's not about out there, it's about coming into the center of your own fulcrum in here. And like Librans are kind of known for like it's like when things are not beautifully, because they want everything to be beautiful and perfection, and they're really good at creating that. They're very artistic, but when things aren't perfect, they'll stage them, they'll cover them with nice things and put flowers and put nice art to cover up things and whatever. So so the part of us that wants to cover up things in the external so that it won't be judged, we need to realize it's just a frequency. We just need to change our frequency and just take a deep breath and come into the center of our own scale when things are out of balance. But this Eight of Wands, you said about this news coming, and I really feel like this equinox is going to be very fast moving, especially when we go through the eclipse season. It's just going to keep speeding up. So yes, I can't show you the charts because there's so many. It's going to be look backwards on here because of the camera, but like, I don't know if you can see.
Oh, wow.
There's like a pentacle, but there's actually and there's a beautiful like one between Psyche and Eros and Vesta and Chiron and Mercury, like this beautiful pentacle. It's exact. And Eros and Psyche are like the divine masculine feminine, like the Greek version of kind of like the Shakti Shiva kind of masculine feminine. This is like a picture of like all three of the pentacles all together. I don't know if you can see it because everything's back.
Wow.
But those are just, there's three exact pentacles like in the chart, and then there's like there's a whole bunch of other aspects. So I think it's going to be very, very transformative. Like there might be a big surge of fear frequency that comes up around then. The earth herself goes through a lot of changes with the ley lines all opening, and like there's going to be I think we just have to just let the change happen and just go with it. and not be afraid of it, but just be excited about it.
Yeah. You know, and I'm also getting here. So the Six of Cups can also signify soulmates. And so it could be soul tribes as well. And so we might be, and they're running away. Like, so there's something that, like, on the normal Rider-Waite deck, they are just standing there, but there's their grandfather there, and they're running towards their grandfather. I don't know if you can see it good there, but
So everybody's walking away on this deck that you've these cards that you've picked out. It's like I think because
yeah.
we're walking away from the old paradigm and going towards the new.
Yes. And so, you know, even though we might be shedding some old people or in our lives, we are aligning with new people. And this, I'm kind of getting this the mat, you know, mat, like the Egyptian god that weighs your heart on the scale as well. So if we are aligning ourselves with our higher purpose, with our higher selves, and our values are in alignment with our heart, and we are navigating our lives through love and community and service, we will align with ourselves, even though it might be uncomfortable. The transformation will, the outcome of the transformation will be in more of an alignment with our soul tribes, perhaps, or people that we can align ourselves with, or community, because they are also in like a walled, they're like in a walled community here as well. I don't know. That kind of just popped into my head. All right. A lot of information. Is there anything else you'd like to share on that one?
No, I'm good.
All right. This is upside down. Oh. So the last card is the final outcome. So, you know, this is not going to happen on the day. This is just like energies that the Libra Equinox is bringing in. But, you know, this is the Knight of Coins. The Knight of Coins is the slowest knight of the deck. Now, this can also signify that he needs to get started on something. So, you know, other ways of making money, other ways of being self-sufficient. So perhaps he needs to start planting those seeds. We need to be self-reliant a little bit more, stop relying on other people. And he has a whole field behind him, but he has the seed that can sustain himself, but he needs to get going and he needs to plant. So coming up with a strategy on how you're going to navigate some of these times ahead. But you need to be flexible as well, right? Because we don't know exactly how these things are going to unfold, but there are changes and transformations coming. So let's see, Knight of Coins is 3. And there's a lot of financial and material 3D energies in this reading. So, all right, the Fool. Okay. So yeah, we have brand new energy coming, and we need to take that leap of faith, co-create with the universe. That doesn't mean that that you're going to give your responsibility away to the universe or to someone else. We need to do the work. So the Jupiter will bestow some blessings upon us, like the 6 of Cups here. Okay, we have blessings coming in, but we also need to meet the universe halfway and do work on our own. We need to, and then when the universe sees us doing the work, the universe will bestow more blessings upon us because we're vibrating at that frequency. We need to co-create. This is a sign, the dog here is also a sign of companionship. So perhaps that there is going to be some sort of, it's not going to be as lonely as we thought. There are more people awakening up to this new world, this new paradigm, and perhaps we will start to align with people that are vibrating at our frequency a little bit more. And you see here, might be what we're taking with us from the old world is this little sack that on a stick. And so he doesn't even need it. He would rather stop and smell the roses and live in the present moment as he's hanging there. And he is trusting that the universe is going to take care of him. But with the Knight of Cups, we need to start thinking about what we want our lives to look like. and start manifesting and start planting those seeds so the universe can work with us so we can manifest on a 3D level. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe
the Fool is starting his journey from the beginning, right?
Right. Well, before we start like with a new beginning and we start like a new cycle, we need to wrap the last one up.
Yeah.
And we also figure out what we want in the new cycle that we want to manifest. And I think that the Knight, yeah, he needs to get going. He needs, but maybe the idea that is that he really does need to slow down. Like maybe he needs to come more into the present moment and figure out what he really does want rather than what he thought he wanted.
Yeah.
What's like really, what are the needs that are really, you know, when you go down to the bones of it, like, because a lot of our wants and needs are based on our external reality. What does he really want? What's the state of being that he wants to plant the seed in? That he's got that seed there in his hand. Like, what does he want to plant in the ground? Like, what does he really want? And
what would you like to be before all the conditioning of the world took ownership of you, right?
Yeah, but it's like getting down to, it's like, you know, we want abundance, we want money, we want stuff, but like what we really want is we want to feel safe and secure and freedom, and we want to have time, we want to have, you know, we want to have all that stuff. So like if we create that state of being that we want, and then just trust that when we pulse that out and we send that intention out, that it's going to happen, and we can be the Fool, and we don't have to take all this crap with us from our old life. We just know that it's going to happen. But I think in order to, we have to be able to go in, like really get to the bones of what it is that we really want before we manifest it,
and then resonate on that.
Yeah, because if our intentions are based on our external reality, then we're just going to keep going around in circles, and it's going to just keep showing us where we're not getting to the bones of what we really want, which is the state of being of abundance. Like we are abundance, we are the universe, right? So how do we create that feeling, and just create that feeling within, and like in our feminine internal womb space, and then use our masculine energy to pulse it out and create a new cycle, like
put it into action.
Yeah, like our physical masculine aspect. Because I know a lot of people just see our bodies as just being like skin suits for our light bodies as we go into this 5D reality, but I don't think we value our physicality enough. Like that's our physical, that's our male aspect, our physical aspect. Like we need the physical heart as well as the universal heart. Like we need to combine the masculine and feminine aspects of our heart together so that we can really manifest. But if we're just trying to do it from, you know,
from an ego,
yeah, like we need to pulse it out like with the masculine energy, I think, to really make it happen. But still working on that.
It's a constant everyday battle. Well, I wouldn't say battle, it's a practice.
There is.
Okay, so let's see. A lot of balance. We need to balance our masculine and feminine. A lot of illusions. We got to ground ourselves, as a lot of the illusions are going to be coming to light. We are leaving things that are no longer serving us. We are analyzing what we're giving our energy to, and if it's being reciprocated. We have a whole new world ahead of us that we can co-create if we bask in the energy and become what we want. And a lot of top-down institutions are in the process of being destroyed. But we need to not be in a fear mentality. We are aligning ourselves with our higher selves, aligning ourselves with our masculine and feminine energies, our light and our dark, our water and our fire, our bad and our good. And we are releasing our baggage from our old lives and transforming and aligning ourselves with our new lives. And we are being called to analyze and think about what we want our lives to look like after. So we can focus on that as we transform. How about that summary? Was that good?
Yeah.
Anything to add before we take off?
Yeah, I just think, on the equinox, that's when the earth is balanced.
Yeah.
And so that we need to be as balanced as we can be, and be as in the present moment, which is the only thing that exists anyway, is where all our power lies, in the present moment. And it's like that, the space between the inside and the outside, like that space between the breaths, that's where we create from. That's what the Black Moon and Goddess Kali are always, that's their qualities, right? So yeah, it's all about the now. That's where the power is.
All right. So you heard it from us. Focus on the now and align yourselves into a balanced and a state of being. My brain is just fried now. Okay, so when will we be doing our next stars and cards? We'll be doing another one for the eclipses, correct?
Sure.
So stay tuned for that. Take care during this equinox. It's going to be a bumpy couple of months, few months, but I think it's going to turn out to be in our best interest in the end. So be mindful of where you're focusing your energy, and be mindful on your interpretation of what's happening. And remember, you can always turn off your TV and you can choose what your reality is. Right? All right. So we will end right there. Okay, let me just stop recording. Okay. Have a nice day. Bye.